Shaquille O'Neal's evening took an unexpected turn as he approached his private jet following a successful charity event in New York. Ready to unwind, he was stopped at the entrance by a security guard who calmly but firmly blocked his path. "I can't let you through," the guard stated, his tone carrying an unspoken authority. Confused, Shaquille asserted his identity. "I'm Shaquille O'Neal. I'm supposed to be on that jet." But the guard remained resolute, refusing to let him board without clearance. The situation quickly escalated, the tension palpable as bystanders began to gather. Shaquille, towering over the guard, attempted to reason with him, only to be met with cold indifference. "I don't care who you are. You're not getting on that jet unless I say so." This wasn't just a misunderstanding or a simple procedural delay. It felt deliberate, personal, and heavy with unspoken implication. Shaquille's mind raced, recalling past encounters with prejudice and power plays, as he stood face to face with what seemed like a microcosm of systemic inequality. The incident highlighted a deeper issue, one beyond the moment of confrontation, not just with authority, but with the lingering dynamics of control and discrimination. As the tense standoff between Shaquille O'Neal and the security guard escalated, a composed woman in a sleek business suit stepped forward, her presence immediately commanding attention. "Is there a problem?" she asked, her voice calm but firm. The guard, visibly unsettled, explained his act. "This man is attempting to board his plane without proper clearance." The woman's sharp gaze shifted between the guard and Shaquille before she delivered a pointed question. "And who gave you the authority to decide who gets on and who doesn't?" Caught off guard, the security guard stammered defensively, but it was clear his confidence was wavering. Sensing the shift in power dynamics, Shaquille stepped forward, his voice steady yet cutting. "Were you doing your job, or were you doing something else?" The woman turned back to the guard, her tone decisive. "I suggest you step aside. This isn't something you want to escalate." Reluctantly, the guard backed down, but the incident left a lingering weight. As Shaquille boarded his jet, the encounter replayed in his mind. He couldn't help but wonder, what if he hadn't been Shaquille O'Neal? The confrontation revealed a systemic injustice that likely affected countless others without fame or a platform to fight. Shaken but resolute after the airport incident, Shaquille O'Neal wasted no time in seeking justice. Once his jet landed, he immediately called his lawyer. "We need to investigate this," he said, his voice. "I want to know everything about that guard, who he is, where he's from, and why he thought he had the right to treat me like that." For Shaquille, this was no longer just about a personal affair. It was about exposing a system that allowed such behavior to persist. As media coverage of the confrontation began to gain traction, Shaquille was approached by Lisa, the composed woman who had intervened during the incident. A legal consultant with a background in civil rights, Lisa shared his determination to fight systemic discrimination. Over a phone call, she told Shaquille, "This isn't something you can let go. It's bigger than you. It's about everyone who's ever faced this kind of injustice." Lisa's words struck a chord. Together, they developed a strategy to confront the broader issues underlying the incident. It wasn't just about holding one individual accountable. It was about dismantling the discriminatory practices that empowered such action. With Lisa's expertise and Shaquille's platform, they vowed to bring the issue to light and demand systemic change. Fueled by the injustice he experienced, Shaquille O'Neal launched a campaign aimed at shining a spotlight on systemic inequality. It wasn't just about his airport encounter. It was a catalyst for addressing broader issues like police brutality, racial discrimination, and societal prejudice. His platform, honed over decades of public life, became a powerful megaphone for stories of those who had suffered in silence. Shaquille began traveling across the country, meeting community leaders, activists, and families who had endured similar injustices. Their stories, often heartbreaking, reinforced his resolve. He amplified these voices through social media, interviews, and public appearances, urging systemic reforms and accountability at every level. The media quickly picked up the story. Headlines highlighted his efforts, portraying him as both a hero for justice and, to some critics, a controversial figure stepping out of his lane. The support from communities was overwhelming, but the backlash was equally fierce. Detractors accused him of being too outspoken or using his fame to stir unnecessary controversy. Undeterred, Shaquille stayed focused. "This isn't about me," he said during a major interview. It's about creating a future where no one is denied dignity or equality. His campaign gained momentum, evolving from a personal fight into a national movement for change. As Shaquille O'Neal's campaign against systemic injustice gained momentum, the backlash was inevitable. Critics emerged from all corners, some accusing him of being too political and others questioning his understanding of the issues. Media outlets that once celebrated his athletic career now painted him as a divisive. Headlines suggested he was out of his depth, while social media became a battleground of support and vitriol. Despite the attacks, Shaquille remained steadfast. "This isn't about me," he reiterated time and again. Determined to ground his movement in authenticity, he focused on amplifying community stories. He traveled tirelessly, visiting neighborhoods and meeting families affected by injustice. One encounter with Carla, a young mother whose son had been wrongfully arrested, particularly moved. Her resilience inspired him to fight even harder for those without a voice. Amid the movement's growing visibility, a wealthy businessman, David, approached Shaquille with an offer to expand the campaign. David proposed a high-profile media campaign with commercials, interviews, and documentaries to promote the cause. While tempting, Shaquille quickly sensed the corporate undertones. Carefully crafted branding, sponsorship opportunities, and narratives designed to appeal to target demographic. "This isn't about market value or image control," Shaquille responded firmly during a meeting. "This is about real people and real change." Rejecting the offer, he chose to preserve the grassroots essence of the movement, refusing to let corporate interests dilute its authenticity. As the movement grew, Shaquille turned his focus to systemic reform. Engaging with lawmakers, he made it clear he wouldn't settle for symbolic victories or empty promises. In one pivotal meeting, he addressed a room of skeptical politicians. "This isn't about policy as usual. It's about lives, real lives left behind by a broken system. Are you ready to act? Or will history remember you as part of the problem?" His conviction began to shift the political landscape. Reluctant allies emerged, and discussions moved toward tangible reforms in areas like police accountability and voting rights. Shaquille's persistence demonstrated that change wasn't just possible, it was imperative. Shaquille's movement transcended borders, resonating globally as a call for justice. Despite mounting opposition and personal sacrifices, he pressed forward, becoming a symbol of resistance, and his work inspired countless others to rise, envisioning a future defined by equality and systemic transformation. Through it all, Shaquille remained resolute, proving that lasting change is born from unwavering determination.